I've been lucky enough to spend a lot of time growing up on Quandamooka, on Moreton Bay. It's really the jewel of southeast Queensland in my opinion, and something that a lot of Brisbane people don't get to see. We think of Brisbane as the brown snake, but the reality is the Moreton Bay is the most beautiful part. We once had extensive shellfish reefs all over the place. Sadly, it's got a history of mining. In the 1800s, the oysters were taken out of Quandamooka. Oysters make fantastic cement, and they collected them all and made early Brisbane.
We know that there's been up to 99% loss of shellfish reefs in Moreton Bay, which of course brings with it a whole heap of important loss of fisheries and other ecosystem services like water filtration and good water quality. So myself and my colleagues and friends at Ozfish have been developing techniques across a variety of different locations to try and restore those reefs, bring them back to their former glory, and bring back with it some of those lost ecosystem services that we all benefit from.
Those reefs are extremely important. They filter the water, they're the livers of Moreton Bay. They create homes for a huge number of animals and boost biodiversity. And that biodiversity in turn boosts fish numbers.
We know really clearly that shellfish reefs have a massive benefit for fisheries and wreck fishers and commercial fishers alike. We know, for example, from work in the Noosa River and in Pumice Passage that almost immediately, even weeks after restoring shellfish reefs at these locations, we get a doubling, a tripling of the fisheries benefits at some of those sites. For example, after 4 years in Pumice Passage, at the restoration site there, we found a 16 times increase in the amount of harvestable fish at that site than at nearby control sites. So it is absolutely indisputable that shellfish reef restoration helps us to catch bigger and better fish.
We've started a two-part study. We're doing the site suitability study where we want to find out the best spots for shellfish reefs and where the bad spots are too, so we don't do any work in those spaces. We also want to work out the best way to put them back, so there's a methodology study as well where we're using 4 different types of reefs to see which is the best. We're using the tried and true robust oyster baskets. We've got a Bessie bag, which is a biodegradable polymer bag filled with oyster shell. We've had a new oyster ball where Gary, one of our volunteers, has designed and built. And we're also using piles of rock, which is a really normal way of doing shellfish reefs all around the world and all around Australia. And we want to see which one of those works the best for Quandamooka. We're going to be looking at things like how many oysters are growing on each one, and then what other animals are living on each one. A few oysters growing on a place is not really going to make any homes for other animals. So we're really wanting to make sure they're complex structures, that we get lots of nooks and crannies for all these little animals to live in. We also want to see how they filter the water. Do they actually filter as much water as they would in the wild? So some studies in that way would be really great as well. So we've got a lot of partners that are really making this happen. For the site suitability study, University of Sunshine Coast and Healthy Land and Water have been driving the project and done really well. So without those sort of partnerships, nothing gets done. For the methodology part, we really like to thank Queensland Fisheries who've funded that study, which has been incredible. Thanks to the legends that are the Central Moreton Bay chapter, our chapter has grown from strength to strength, and we have so many fantastic volunteers. Quandamooka is going to be a much better place thanks to them.